It's me again, dredging with the old guy. And in the last video, I spoke about changing the orientation of the cylinder of the air compressor and rotating it 90 degrees such that the cylinder of the air compressor and the cylinder of the engine are both vertical. Principally because on the air compressor, I want the snorkel to go vertical so that I can hopefully avoid inhaling the fumes of the engine while dredging. Well, I got it done. As you can see, the air compressor is now attached to the engine via a 90-degree mount. I know of no other mount like this available today. Again, let me get close so you can see it. This is the Teledyne Sprag. That's the model number and serial number. As we roll around, of course, you won't see anything. Well, the difference with the engine, I was about to say you won't see anything different, but I was able to find a handle for it and put it on there. This is not new. I had a 3-inch dredge, Keen dredge from, oh gosh, it was probably from the early 60s with a dead engine. Had been stored for like 15 years with fuel in the tank, if you can believe that, and the carburetor was just trashed, so it was less problematic for me just to swap out the engine. The reason I'm telling you this is to tell you that that engine that I had did have a Briggs from the factory handle on it. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Let me point out a couple of things. I'm going to use my pointer here is now a piece of wire. Again, this is you see the weld here. Let me get the camera to look at where my pointer is. And you'll see how the air compressor base attachment has now been reconnected to the original water pump base. The original owner separated the two because he did not like the original Briggs engine and he went to a GX160. I went back to the Briggs original type engine. This is not the engine, this is a engine that was made for me. So Briggs 5 horsepower flathead. There is a handle on it now. I like that because whenever you pick this monster up, it just helps to have something else to grab onto, and the handle is very, very nice there. I have a series of spacers here. I've used this as an adjustable spacer, a series of washers, excuse me. And so I've offset the air compressor about 0.7 inches. It's 0.703 inches. So I've offset it that much. I've added some distance in my, some length in my link belt. I've chosen to use a link belt because if it ever, and the belt will only fail when you're in use dredging in the middle of a river or a creek. And if the regular belt fails, a V belt, you're pretty much done for the day. The manufacturers will tell you, well, you can change this out on the river, and you can, but it's a lot less problematic if you can just add or subtract a couple of links and you're back in business in less than like 30 minutes. So I prefer the link belt. And you have to change them every couple of years, but I don't really care. Also, the Y connector, this is not original. I use this because it makes it very easy to flood the pump. I always get a positive pump flooding prior to engine start because I close this valve. This is the valve that takes the pressure water from the pump to the power jet log, to the couple jet. I close this one. I prime using this one with the pump inlet tube. Of course, this is where the foot valve, the line with the foot valve goes. And I get a positive flooding on the pump. I start the engine in low throttle and it works like a charm. Coming on around, you can see the compressor has no direct to the engine, to the mounting, is no direct connection there. And as I move in front of the lights, again to the front of the engine, this is how the original owner and how Mr. Bert Sheely, the inventor and manufacturer of this dredge, I believe had originally intentioned it to be. In my next video, we're actually going to go, I'm going to put this on a dredge frame, and we're going to go to the creek in my backyard, and we're going to adjust the pressure in my jet log and the couple jet to between 35 and 40 PSI, and you're coming with me for that trip, okay? See you in a little bit. Bye now.